When it comes to pay, working men and women receive different outcomes.
On average, for every dollar that a man earns, women earn 78 cents. So it's a big difference.
New data exposes the gap at every business with more than 100 staff, covering more than 5.3 million workers at almost 10,000 companies. Qantas is celebrating International Women's Day by having more than 50 flights operated entirely by women. But for every dollar a man at Qantas makes, a woman, on average, earns just 64 cents. And at Jetstar, it's 54 cents.
I think the publication of the data is absolutely essential. It does accelerate change.
Feeding into the gap, industrial issues, such as pilots being predominantly men and earning high wages. In the banking sector, the gender pay gap at Westpac is almost 28%, and it's getting worse. For every dollar a man earns, a woman, on average, takes home 72 cents. But at NAB, the gap is almost half that.
No single organisation can totally close the gender pay gap because it also depends on many things such as sectors. So it depends on women's ability to both work and care.
The gap has increased slightly from 21.7% last year because the pay of chief executives is included. Removing the remuneration of bosses, the gap would have fallen 0.6%.
56% of companies improved their gender pay gap in the last 12 months. So we've got progress. We need to accelerate that change.
The issue is not about equal pay for equal work. For more than 50 years, it's been the law to pay men and women the same for doing the same work. The gender pay gap arises out of workers taking time out of the workforce, gender-segregated industries, and women taking on more part-time work.
Good morning, how are you?
Brittany Carroll trains sales staff for big pharmaceutical company GSK. Her career is an example of how the gap can be narrowed.
It was about 6 weeks away from me going on parental leave and my dream role became available. My initial thoughts were, I don't even think I can apply.
But she won the more senior, better paying job, and it was held for her until she came back.
It was incredibly motivating to know that I was coming back into a role that I had worked really hard for.
The company's human relations boss says narrowing the gap takes time.
This data is a really positive step to be more transparent and to be able to have a better conversation with employees.
Since our interview, the global company has dropped diversity targets to avoid breaking the law in the United States, where President Donald Trump has slammed programs that support the inclusion of marginalised groups like women. Wajia's Mary Wooldridge says international shifts won't change Australian law and what's become standard for local firms.
The feedback we're getting from employers is they value gender equality. They see it as important for their business and their profitability and their future success, and so they've embedded it into their business practices.
Where many don't want to see business as usual.